There might not be a more polarizing quarterback prospect in this year's draft than Alabama's Ty Simpson. The son of longtime UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson, Ty has spent his whole life building up to becoming an NFL quarterback. A five-star recruit coming out of high school in Tennessee, Simpson chose to play for Alabama in 2022 and stuck with that commitment despite Nick Saban's retirement and sitting behind Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe for 3 seasons. Simpson finally got his chance to start this past year, and the numbers show some impressive production, throwing for over 3,500 yards with 28 touchdowns and just 5 interceptions in an 11-win season. However, the expectation for Alabama quarterbacks is conference and national titles, and Simpson struggled in some of the Crimson Tide's biggest games this season. Those struggles, plus Simpson's smaller frame, have led to plenty of questions about his potential as an NFL prospect. Still, Simpson decided to forego his final year of college eligibility to declare for the 2026 draft, despite some massive offers from other college programs. According to Colin Gay of the Tuscaloosa News, Simpson was offered between $4 and $6.5 million to transfer to schools like Miami or Ole Miss instead of going pro. Chris Lowe of On3 spoke with Simpson about those offers, who admitted that he had a knot in his stomach over the situation on whether to declare or to stay in school. But Simpson made his decision for a reason, and when you turn on the tape, despite some of the struggles in other games, you can see those flashes of a legitimate NFL quarterback in some of his better performances. So let's take a look at one of those better performances by diving into the tape of his college football playoff win against Oklahoma to show you the best possible version an NFL team could be getting of Ty Simpson in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube if you're not already, and follow us on socials at Best Available YT. It is full swing draft season. It is quarterback week right now. We're going to talk cornerbacks next week. So make sure that you are subscribed and following on socials. If you want full access to my NFL Draft Big Board with all of my notes, all of my rankings, everything that you could possibly want in a live document that's constantly being updated, consider becoming a member. I'll leave details to that in the episode description. It's also just another great way to support the channel. We've had a few people that have already signed up. Thank you so much to those people who have supported. But let's go ahead and dive into the Simpson tape because it is way more surprising than I think the biggest Simpson haters might expect. There are plenty of valid criticisms with Simpson's game, short, struggles under pressure, but there's a lot of stuff that was out of his control and some of the reasons he struggled this year. One, just almost zero running game, which for an Alabama program is absolutely shocking, but it was real. Like they were, the outside of the top 100 in rushing efficiency in all of FBS. Like that's just an unacceptable level for a program like Alabama. And two, I just thought the offensive line was pretty disappointing. They have a couple potential pro guys, Caden Proctor, who might be a first-round pick. Parker Brailsford will probably be a day 3 center, but he is very light. But other than that, the offensive line had some issues, and all of that, is to say that Simpson did not have a lot to work with. He had some talented receivers, but it was just a really difficult year for the Alabama offense. I thought he made the most of it. And this is a game where you're going to see, it's not going to be perfect, but there are going to be a lot of plays, and some plays where his teammates just let him down. And I was surprised by that because I keep teetering back and forth. It's why I wanted to do this video. I'm still not totally sold on Simpson as a potential starter one day in the NFL, but I wanted to show one of his better games to show you why you can see some of the flashes of a really good quarterback. So we're here, first play, our first third down of the game for Alabama, and they're getting a heavy 5-man pressure look here. So we're going to roll it. You've got this rush here. You've got a guy coming off the edge. You got a guy coming off the edge. You're going to have a double inside twist and then this guy loop around. So we're just running games, and you'll notice this throughout the game. We're just running all kinds of twists, stunts, all kinds of stuff to get this offensive line thrown off guard. And it was successful. And Simpson's just kind of, throwing into the fire throughout this game. And I thought, for as much as he struggles under pressure, this was a really nice way to stay composed. The first third down of the game, he feels that twist coming. This guy's splitting the two blockers. Simpson's internal clock doesn't need to get this ball out quick. So he's staying composed. He's keeping his feet pointed, shoulders square, eyes looking at the intended receiver. He's stepping into this throw slightly. He's delivering it, following through, and it's right on the money on third down, past the chains for what would have been their first down of the game. but instead it's a drop, which is, just awfully disappointing. Because of, Simpson's composure in the situation to go through all of the mess here. And as we pause it, just again, all of that rush coming, it's a six-man protection with five guys rushing, but with the games, there's still going to be a guy that gets free. I appreciate Simpson's first look is trying to stay neutral, hold the safety, then look at his intended target. You can see he switches his eyes. Now he's looking this way. He's staying composed in the pocket, delivers an accurate ball. It's just unfortunately dropped. One of the more underrated traits about Simpson is that he is pretty dang mobile. He can move around. I don't think he's the most lethal on the run, but he can make plays. And here's a good example of that. Like, we've got another twist, inside slant. We've got this guy looping around right here. He's going to get a free rush because Caden Proctor's too worried about the inside threat. It leaves number 72. I believe that's Brailsford, just to kind of be on an island, not blocking anyone. So there's a free rusher coming towards Ty. Does a great job with the pump fake here, or looking like he's about to throw. Get the free rusher airborne, dip around him. That's just impressive escapability. And what I appreciate here, it is kind of a throwaway, but the placement of it rolling out to his left under duress, there is a scenario where a more elite level receiver can be an acrobat, keep his feet in bounds, and extend for that ball. I'm not saying it's totally possible. That is not an easy play. But I at least appreciate where he's throwing it somewhere in a situation where he just kind of needs to get this ball out to avoid that pressure. That kind of throw that far downfield, I'll give him a little credit for. He's at least trying to make a play there. And it was I'll give him credit too. It was an awfully nice job of, almost kind of pump faking to get that free rusher airborne to avoid the sack. So things aren't going great now at this point for Alabama in this game. They are down 17-0, and Oklahoma keeps sending pressure. We're going to have a six-man pressure look here as we roll this. We're going to have this guy bail out into coverage, but we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a sixth wide down here. We're just sending the house against these protections, running all kinds of games, blitzes from depth. And what I love here is just the composure. Again, mental toughness is huge for me with quarterbacks. If you've been watching the videos this week, I keep bringing it up. That's why there's some quarterbacks I just really like. But I don't care if you make a mistake. Mistakes are going to happen at any position. I care about how you respond to it. And this is a great situation where it's third down. Alabama just needs something. They're down 17-0. Simpson's getting hounded by another six-man pressure look. And we have this nice little concept where it's kind of a rub out here to the flat, kind of a rub here, almost like a spot. And then we're just going to have this outbreaking route. Simpson's feeling that pressure. He moves slightly off platform, and then he just throws in the bucket here, gets some touch on it, hits that receiver in stride. That is just beautiful work. And a play where they just need something. It's this game is going so terribly at this point that they just need some kind of a big play. And I love that despite all that pressure, Simpson's not dropping his eyes at any point. If you just watch Simpson here as he's dropping back, his eyes are always looking downfield with all of this chaos happening. He's not worried about the pressure. He's stepping away a little bit. Maybe it's a cleaner pocket than he thinks he has, and we can nitpick that from the end zone angle, but I love the touch he places on that and the ability to hit it in stride. Let's flip over to that end zone angle. So as we roll this, you're going to feel that, six-man pressure look, all the twists and games, the offensive line's trying to pick it all up. And maybe we could nitpick, like I said, speed rush is going to get there eventually. That's going to take an awfully long time. This guy is kind of collapsing in the pocket, but I think if he just stays kind of home and then steps into this throw, he can deliver with a bit more velocity. He can step into it instead of kind of drifting away. But at the same time, this is kind of a testament to Simpson's arm talent where, he's not really throwing this that cleanly, but he's still able to deliver pretty accurately with velocity, touch. He has a better arm for a smaller QB prospect than I think he gets credit for. And I think this is a good example of one of those plays. Not the prettiest pocket presence. I am convinced he can just not drift away and step into this. But we're just being nitpicky at this point because Alabama needed something. And here we are just getting, a big chunk play down 17-0 to finally get the offense going a little bit. At the NFL level, you got to be able to hit intermediate throws, and this is a nice job of feeling this window open up and Simpson hitting it. We've got a delayed release by this running back, and we've got this tight end coming up the seam, and we're going to have this window. This linebacker is going to be focusing on underneath and trying to break on the running back. This linebacker is just trying to stay neutral, and he's going to break on wherever the throwing motion is. We've got over the top help here. So we're going to have some kind of window here. And I think Simpson does a nice job feeling that, anticipating it, and he is winding up to throw. You can see he's starting to step in as soon as this tight end crosses the face of that linebacker, worried about the running back. And it's just a nice job to get that throw in. Those windows close pretty fast, so this linebacker still reacts to it. This linebacker is going to start closing down on it, and this safety is going to start closing. So if you're a little too late on this throw, suddenly, there's a lot of things bad that can happen here. But instead, Simpson delivers a really nice strike in stride to the tight end, gives him some yak potential, and it ends up being another really successful chunk play because Simpson had a good feel for that throwing window, understand what the linebacker's responsibilities were, and then just, a really good strike. The NFL throws, at the NFL level, you got to be able to hit those intermediate windows. And if you can't, an NFL offense doesn't have a lot of other successful outlets for chunk plays. It's not like they can just throw 4 verticals. This isn't Madden. You can't just keep throwing deep all the time. So him being able to hit plays like this is very encouraging from an NFL perspective. Alabama's going for it on 4th down, and we just need to move the sticks. It's like 4th and short here. It's not 4th and goal, just to clarify. Alabama's going for something here, and there's some kind of argument to be made that is Simpson throwing to the right guy here based on the safety's positioning. He is breaking down at the throw, but with his leverage on this tight end, could we have just gotten the easier touchdown here on the corner route? Yeah, maybe so, but I think whatever throw Simpson makes in a situation like this, he's going to be right on 4th and short because this defender's breaking on the flat route. We've got one defender covering 2 different receivers, and on a 4th and short situation, you really are just more worried about moving the sticks and giving yourself a chance at the end zone. I think this is a little bit of a riskier throw. You're probably going to have to throw it with touch on it and hope this bigger tight end can win a foot race against the safety. I don't think that's a guarantee. So I think technically either throw he makes is right, but I think he makes the more correct one here. Just get the sticks. You can see he's, right at the sticks or a little bit ahead of it, and then just let the receiver make a play. And then the receiver bails him out by just making a couple incredible plays and then spinning into the end zone. I really appreciated the composure of not getting greedy for the touchdown here, even though this tight end has leverage on this safety and just taking what he can get. Short route, accept the first down, take the win, and then it just turns into something better. It's maybe you could argue that's too conservative, it's risk averse, but man, on 4th downs, I don't care. Just get that first down and then just let whatever else happens, and turned out to be a good play and a touchdown. This is a big-time NFL caliber throw. We got under center play action. We're going to go through the reads and hit backside. You'll notice it on the end zone angle, but I'll just show you here. Play action, we've got these routes developing here. We've got this little short one right here. But when we pay attention to his bottom of the screen, we got this dig. And from this angle, you can kind of see it with Simpson right here. So he's going to go through those progressions. Flat's not there, right? It's covered here. This defender's going to break down on it. I believe that's Robert Spears-Jennings. He's a pretty damn good safety. Little risky throwing against him with this tight end. We've got sticky coverage here. So he's going to feel all of the scan through. Not there, not there, not there. And then he's just going to rip that backside dig to this open defender, or open receiver, the last one that's open, then delivers a nice middle of the field strike for another big play and a first down. But I really do want to show you the end zone of it more than anything, because I just want you to pay attention as Simpson gets his back turned to the defense on this play action. We're going to roll it. So his back's turned, and I just want you to watch his eyes and him scanning through his reads. This is NFL stuff from under center. He's looking for the flat, not there. Looking for that corner, not there. He's looking for this little drag route, not there. And then he's going to flip his eyes all the way backside, and then he's ripping that dig with velocity, comfort, the tempo with which he goes through his reads. I'll show it in full speed so you can get a feel for that as we roll it. So I just want you to pay attention. As soon as he gets his here turn, watch how quickly he goes 1, 2, 3, backside dig, and how quickly he reads through that. The composure to do that after having your back turned. So many college quarterbacks struggle under center with play action. It seems like they kind of panic trying to just throw whatever the first thing they see. I love this stuff. I love seeing a quarterback under center play action, scan the field, and then hit, an NFL throw, which is that deep dig to generate a big play. This is one of my favorite plays of the game, frankly. Still wanted to show some of those concerns I have under pressure. I think he made a couple nice throws under pressure today, and we'll talk about one of them shortly. But it is still one of his biggest concerns. Is you see his numbers under duress? They take a significant dip compared to the average college quarterback, and that is a worry. He's a smaller guy. It's going to be an issue for him. What I at least respect here is all this chaos is going, and he has the pocket presence to just step up and avoid the pressure coming outside, but it's that throw when he's under duress that's it's simply too high. His throwing accuracy can be a bit erratic in times like this, where I get a little worried that this is going to be a constant problem. But with the right team, with an offensive line, and a team where he may not necessarily need to start right away, I think he'll have more answers for stuff like this. But that is just a tough one. Technically may be catchable, but it is still way too high. And that's kind of a recurring theme throughout his tape throughout the season, is when things are going bad, it's because he's under pressure, just kind of making erratic throws with inaccuracy, and it leads to some dangerous plays. Now, despite all of that, he can still make some pretty impressive plays, in big moments, because this is another pressure look we're going to get. It's 3rd and 11. We're getting another, twist. We're getting a blitzer from depth, just putting as much pressure on Simpson as possible. And I just love, there's so much chaos going down. His tackle and a rusher on the ground, his running backs picking up a blitzer from depth. There's a win around the edge with speed. There's another lineman on the ground. This is chaos right here. And I just love that Simpson's staying composed on 3rd and 11, immediately the play before sailing a throw under pressure. He's just staying in that pocket, calm and composed. And that's a perfect window shot. And just, it can't be hauled in. I know the receiver takes a hit, but on 3rd and 11, you got to haul that in, especially with the throw that Simpson delivers. This is such a not fun situation for Simpson with all of this chaos going on around him. And I love that he's not panicking. He's not trying to bail out. He is staying in that pocket. His eyes are downfield, and he's just delivers an accurate shot. I just wish that got hauled in. It felt like too many times in this game, throws where Simpson's able to make a play out of nothing with the pocket collapsing, that there's just too many drops in this one specifically. Good things happen when Simpson has a clean pocket, which is nice to hear. We're going to see this. We're just going to rush 4 here, and the line picks it up well. Simpson's taking that deep drop back. He's reading this corner who's fading inside. He's going to jab out, head for the corner of the end zone. Feels that. He's just stepping into this throw. And then you can just see the arm talent here. He's got a step on him. Instead of taking the corner, he is just throwing over the top of this DB to avoid the DB having any chance of getting it. So by the time the DB's head's turn, he's just not going to be able to get to this. He's just simply too far behind the receiver. Makes it really easy. And I'll rewind it so you can see that velocity on that throw, because, man, there are times where Simpson can just really rip it. And 4-man rush, and this must have been a sigh of relief, not only for Simpson, but the Alabama offensive line. Oh, thank goodness, only a 4-man rush this time. Gives Simpson all the time in the world, and you just see that arm talent. That ball just kind of explodes out of his hand. That is a terrific throw. And again, it goes back to my point, he does have way better arm talent for a very small quarterback than I think he gets credit for, because that ball can really jump out of his hand when he's able to step into a throw. I really enjoy a quarterback that can throw deep shots near the sideline. And it's not Simpson's strength by any stretch, but it felt like a ball he got more comfortable with as the season went on. This is a good example of it. We're just going to throw a touch to the sideline. Let me move my big-ass head so we can actually see this full play. You're going to see it. This corner's in good trail technique, trying to use the sideline as leverage. And in this situation, wide receiver's trying to stack back over the corner so that we can give ourselves more room on the sideline. And we have plenty of room here. And a quarterback's job in this situation is throw with touch and throw somewhere on this sideline. We want to help get the wide receiver open by giving him room to haul in this catch with this corner draped on the heels. A good corner that's really physical will use this trail technique to naturally just push the wide receiver closer and closer to that sideline to make this window even harder. So this is plenty of room for the receiver, but it's still not the easiest throw. You got to bucket shot that. You got to throw it towards that sideline. Man, that is a beautiful throw from Simpson to throw to that sideline where only his receiver can catch it. That's why we want to stack back over the corner as a receiver, to let a player like Simpson bucket shot this, throw you open more towards the sideline. That is, a good job by all parties on Alabama's offense, the receiver and the quarterback, to generate a big play on the sideline like that. This is the last one of the day, and I get there might be some criticism on this one. I want you to pay attention to the throw here. To me, this is more of a know your wide receiver. This is Jeremy Bernard. He is a prototypical X kind of receiver, jump ball specialist, not a true burner. And I think that matters for the sake of this play. We got a one-on-one at the bottom of the screen. Simpson's going to recognize that as we go back to throw. This safety's stuck in mud, so he's not going to be able to get over the top of this. And I just love Simpson understands, like, for as impressive of a receiver as Bernard is, we're not going to want to throw this and like loft it, get him to get under it, because he's just not that kind of player. This DB can catch up to it. We're just going to throw it right at him. Know he's got a bead on this DB. The DB is not seeing where the ball is going, and we're just going to throw it at him and let Bernard do what he does best, which is incredible contested catchability. And yeah, you could say maybe he should throw it with loft and stuff like that. I just think this is a situation where you know your wide receiver and know what he's capable of. In a situation like this too, maybe we're trying to back shoulder it or something like that, and Bernard just beats him off the snap. But I think it's more of an example of know your wide receiver. In this case, Bernard makes a hell of an acrobatic catch, which is something that he's just way more comfortable doing, in my opinion, than winning a foot race on the outside. I get that not all of it is perfect with Ty Simpson, but I hope this video at least shows you the best versions of him do have NFL traits. Yes, he's too small. The under pressure stuff's a concern, but that ball explodes out of his hands. He's comfortable in the intermediate part of the field. He can scan through his progressions. He can diagnose extra rushers and where he needs to get the ball out to. And there are still some throws, despite his struggles under pressure, that are pretty damn impressive. So I hope this video gives you a more full picture of Simpson, this guy that gets crapped on a lot from, maybe more casual fans that aren't, trying to focus on it from an objective perspective. So hope this video did exactly that. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back on Friday. It is going to be mock draft time. I know everyone was doing them on Monday. I like to do them on Friday, give me a bit more time to think through it, especially after the Super Bowl. But we'll be back with our mock draft on Friday. So if you're already this far into the video and you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe so you get that notification when the mock draft drops. We'll be back then. Thank you so much for watching. Best available.